What if I told you there's a powerful reason why you're stuck? You have big dreams, far bigger than most people you know, yet you keep finding yourself back in the same place, trapped. Same habits, same disappointments, same unfulfilled potential that drags you down year after year. Doesn't it feel like a curse? A hidden force controlling your every move? But what if I told you it doesn't have to be that way? In the next few minutes, I'm going to give you something no motivational speaker or self-help book ever has. The secret map to break free from this cycle. The hidden truth about why you keep hitting the same walls. The breakthrough that Carl Jung spent his life trying to teach, but no one listened. And at the end, not just theory, but the exact blueprint to turn your unrealized potential into real, lasting change. Stay with me, and by the end of this video, you'll see exactly what you've been missing all this time. This is the ultimate reward for anyone brave enough to keep going, but it's not handed out halfway. You only get it if you commit to the end. Because nothing, absolutely nothing, will change until you see the entire picture. And I promise you, you've never heard it put together like this before. Not like this. We've all felt it. That nagging feeling that comes creeping in when you scroll online and see someone else absolutely crushing it. They're building empires, transforming their bodies, living their dreams, and in that moment you think, I have just as many ideas, maybe even more ambition, so why can't I do what they do? You start planning, you daydream, you tell yourself, this week will be different, this time I'm really going to start. But when it's time to act, you freeze. Something invisible holds you back, a quiet resistance you can't shake, and society tells you, it's just laziness. You've probably called yourself lazy 100 times, right? But Carl Jung would say this: laziness isn't a personality flaw. It's not about being tired. No, it's a mask. A simple word we slap onto something far deeper, something powerful. A hidden war inside your mind. Most people never dig past the surface. They think they just need more discipline, a better morning routine. They tell themselves, if I want it bad enough, I'll get it. That's why you can binge productivity videos for hours and still not get off the couch. The world calls it a lack of willpower. Jung, however, he called it something else. Carl Jung dedicated his entire life to one mission: to uncover the parts of us we refuse to face. He called it the shadow, your hidden self, the deep, unseen force that lurks beneath your conscious awareness. The shadow isn't evil, but it's tricky. It holds all the fears, the doubts, the bad memories, the insecurities you try to ignore or bury deep down. And here's the mind-bending part. The bigger your ambition, the bigger your shadow grows. Why? Because every bold goal you set, every risk you take, and every time you imagine a life beyond the one you have, your shadow feels threatened. Its primal job is simple: to keep you safe, to keep you small, to keep you comfortable. So when you start to dream big, your shadow gets to work. Suddenly, everything feels heavier. You're inexplicably tired, distracted, uncertain. Every action feels like you're dragging a weight behind you. And then, your mind gets clever. It invents brilliant reasons to delay. I need rest, it says, I'll do it later. It creates excuses to avoid, without you even realizing it. Think about it. How many times have you decided you're going to make a massive change, only to find yourself doing the exact opposite just hours later? This isn't weakness. This isn't bad luck. This is your psychological defense system going into full force. Your ambition, your big dreams, and your shadow are locked in a silent tug-of-war. And until you understand what's really happening, you will always lose. You might think motivation is the answer, right? You watch a few hyped-up YouTube talks, you get that adrenaline rush, and you think, this time it's different, I'm going to crush it. But here's the cruel twist. Motivation, when unchecked, is often just fuel for your shadow's fire. If you don't understand the true resistance holding you back, Carl Jung believed you can't out-hustle the parts of yourself you refuse to confront. The more you pump yourself up without addressing the hidden forces working against you, the more frustrated you become when everything falls apart again. And your shadow, it thrives on disappointment. Every time you fail, it whispers, "See? I told you it wouldn't work." Let's break it down and map out what really happens so you can clearly see the pattern most people miss. You get inspired, you set that big goal, start a business, get in shape, change your career. At first, you're on fire, you make plans, you tell your friends, but then the days pass. Doubt creeps in, like a cold fog. Distractions multiply, and suddenly, those little deals you make with yourself start. I'll start after I get more rest, after things settle down, after I learn just one more thing. And before you know it, a week has passed, a month. Your motivation is gone. You feel like a failure. You start desperately searching for that new source of hype, that secret that'll finally push you to start. And just like that, the whole agonizing cycle begins again. Here's the real secret. It's not a lack of motivation, or talent, or even opportunity. It's a lack of honest confrontation with the part of you that's terrified of what might happen if you actually changed. Carl Jung once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Read that again. How many times have you said, "That's just the way I am," or "I always mess things up," or "I guess I'm just not meant for more"? That's your unconscious. That's your shadow. It's the part of you writing the script for your life, and you've been calling it fate. But here's the truth. Fate is not final. It's simply the name we give to patterns we don't understand yet. This is the terrifying question that almost nobody dares to ask themselves. If you're ambitious but never seem to move forward, what are you really afraid of? Is it failure, or is it success, and all the big, scary changes that come with it? Is it the fear of being judged, or is it standing out and feeling the crushing pressure when everyone suddenly expects more from you? Here's the thing. Your shadow isn't trying to ruin your life. It's trying to protect you from pain, from embarrassment, from disappointment. But here's the catch. It doesn't know the difference between real danger and imagined risk. Every time you listen to that hidden fear, you shrink a little. And every time you shrink, your shadow gets stronger. Most people will click away before this truth even sinks in. They'll keep living the same cycle, blaming their energy, their willpower, or even bad luck. But if you stick with me through all three parts of this series, here's what you'll get. You'll finally understand how your shadow works in your life. You'll get Jung's map for making the unconscious conscious, step by step, not just theory, but real, actionable tools. And by the end, I'll give you the blueprint to turn that pent-up ambition into real, undeniable action, no matter how many times you've failed before. Most people never get this, but if you do, you're already light years ahead. In the next part, I'm going to show you exactly how to uncover your own shadow and what happens when you stop fighting yourself and start working with your hidden mind instead. If you're tired of feeling stuck, and if you want more than just some empty hype, then don't miss the next piece. The reward is waiting, but only if you finish the journey. You've probably blamed yourself for failing before. Maybe you called it laziness or lack of discipline, or even just bad genetics. But here's the brutal truth. Most people have never learned the real source of their resistance. Carl Jung would tell you that what you call your life is mostly the sum of your unconscious habits, your shadow, quietly running the show behind the scenes. It's not about weakness, it's about old survival patterns, deep-seated memories, beliefs so ingrained you don't even know they're there. This is why true change feels so heavy. You're not just fighting a habit, you're challenging the invisible force that has kept you safe and comfortable since childhood. But if you want more than just trying harder, you need to do something almost nobody dares to do. Face your shadow directly. Think back to the last time you truly wanted to change. Maybe it was getting healthy, building a business, or learning a new skill. Did you notice how quickly your mind invented urgent distractions? Suddenly, cleaning your room, scrolling through your phone, or even talking about your goals became more important than actually taking action. This isn't random, it's your shadow defending its territory. Why? Because every real change is a threat to your comfort zone. Your shadow will fight, it will distract you, and it will even punish you with anxiety, guilt, or shame. Anything to stop you from taking that risk. Jung saw this over and over with his patients. People would come to him with grand ambitions, but underneath, they were terrified of failure, of judgment, or simply the terrifying unknown. So they self-sabotaged over and over again, and they called it fate. Here's the paradox almost no one talks about. Every stuck habit gives you something in return. Even if it's just temporary relief. Staying in bed means you don't have to face the world's expectations. Not starting that project means you never have to risk failing. Not asking for what you want means you never have to be rejected. Your shadow will always offer the illusion of safety. It whispers, "You'll change tomorrow." But here's the thing. Tomorrow never comes. Until you name what you're getting from your old patterns, you'll never escape them. That's why Jung believed in radical self-honesty. Even when it hurts. Most people never slow down enough to listen to what their resistance is really saying. But Jung taught that if you want to change, you need to bring your shadow out of hiding, not by force, but by conversation. Here's something you can try tonight. Sit somewhere quiet. Imagine you're talking to that part of you that always finds reasons not to start. Ask it, what are you afraid will happen if I succeed? Let the answer come, even if it sounds silly, angry, or irrational. Often, your shadow will reveal old wounds, moments where you were laughed at, criticized, or felt completely alone. Sometimes it's a fear of success itself, the new responsibilities that come with it. Other times, it's fear that if you finally go after what you want, you'll lose the people who only loved the old you. This isn't weakness, it's just old pain dressed up as procrastination or fatigue. But once you hear the story, truly hear it, you can start to change it. Most people try to shame themselves into action. They use guilt, they self-criticize, they shout, "No excuses." But Jung believed this always fails. You can't hate your way into growth. Instead, he taught self-acceptance. Not accepting failure forever, but accepting that your mind is trying to protect you, even when it's getting in your way. When you accept your shadow, when you bring your fear, your laziness, and your self-doubt into the light, it loses its power to control you from the dark. Suddenly, you're not wasting energy on self-blame. You're free to use that energy for something new. You don't have to win the war in a single day. Real change doesn't happen overnight. Carl Jung knew that true transformation begins with small, honest steps. So, if you're feeling stuck, don't set impossible goals. Instead, take one small action today. Send that email, go for a walk, speak your truth to one person. And here's the real trick. Pay attention to how your shadow reacts. Does it resist? Does it try to distract you or make excuses? Just notice. Don't fight it. With every honest action you take, even the smallest one, the shadow's grip on you loosens a little more. This is the part of the journey where most people turn back. It gets uncomfortable. It feels slow, but those who stick with it, who keep going, stay honest, and take consistent, real actions, they're the ones who finally break free. Remember, the full reward is waiting at the end of this journey. Most people will never reach it, but if you do, You'll have a blueprint for making real change, no matter how many times you failed before. What's coming next will change everything. In the final part, I'll show you exactly how to turn your self-awareness into unstoppable momentum. Not just theory, but a step-by-step process for turning ambition into reality, day after day. No matter how strong your shadow used to be, you'll get the exact method Jung would give to anyone desperate for change. By now, you've made it further than most. You've faced the hidden forces that keep you stuck. You've seen how your shadow turns ambition into resistance, and you've learned the power of honest conversations with yourself. But here's the truth: most people get this far and still turn back. Why? Because insight isn't the same as transformation. You can understand your patterns, but if you don't take action, that awareness is useless. Jung saw this all the time in his patients. Self-knowledge is powerful, but it's nothing unless it drives movement. If you're still with me, then you're ready for the real reward. The exact steps to finally break the cycle, outsmart your shadow, and become the person you were always meant to be. You don't need another motivational speech. You need a new relationship with your own mind. Here's what Carl Jung discovered. The only way to change a pattern that lives in your shadow is to bring it into the light, and you need to do this over and over again, with actions so small, the shadow can't fight back. Let's be real for a second. Your shadow is always looking for a reason to say, "See, you failed again." So, don't try to prove yourself with some massive overhaul. Prove that you can take the smallest step every single day, even when it feels pointless, even when your mind says, "This isn't enough." Decide on one tiny action that brings you closer to what you want: a 5-minute walk, a short paragraph, one email, or a single honest conversation. Then repeat it. Even if your mind says it's not enough, keep going. The power isn't in the size of the step. It's in breaking the spell of inaction. With every small win, the shadow's voice gets quieter. Most people drift through life and wonder why nothing ever changes, but Jung taught that radical self-awareness is the engine of transformation. So, start tracking your journey, not for perfection, but for honesty. Every evening, ask yourself, did I take my small action today? What resistance did I feel? Did my shadow try to bargain, distract, or discourage me? Write it down, even if it's just one sentence. This process does two things. It keeps you honest, and it lets you watch your shadow in real time. What gets tracked gets transformed. Here's a big secret that no one talks about. You don't have to do this alone. Jung knew that real change happens in a community, not isolation. Find one person you trust, or even a group online, and share what you're working on, even if it feels small or embarrassing. The act of speaking your truth out loud destroys the shadow's power. Suddenly, what once felt like shame turns into connection. Others will relate. You'll feel less alone. This is how your ambition becomes real, not just a fantasy in your head, but a living process in the world. The shadow is persistent. Some days you'll feel all the old resistance return, fatigue, excuses, old habits calling your name. Here's what separates those who change from those who quit. They expect setbacks, but they never let them be the end. Carl Jung wrote, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." So if you miss a day, don't spiral into guilt. Recognize the shadow, forgive yourself, and start again. Every time you return to your intention, you chip away at the old pattern. The people who keep going, even imperfectly, always outlast those who demand perfection from themselves. Here's your reward: the blueprint, real, practical, and proven by Jung's deepest work. 1. Name your shadow. Write down what your laziness is truly protecting you from. Don't judge it, just see it. 2. Choose a small daily action, Not a huge leap, just one tiny thing that moves you forward. 3. Track your progress. Honestly. Every evening, note your action and any resistance you felt. 4th. Share your truth with someone you trust or in a safe community. 5. Expect setbacks, but return when you fail. Start again. Never let shame have the last word. Do this for 3 weeks. Watch what happens. You'll notice your shadow losing its grip. Your lazy days get rarer. Your confidence grows, not from hype, but from quiet self-trust. This isn't theory. It's how real people with real struggles change their lives. Most people will never finish this journey. They'll watch half a video, save another tip, and keep waiting for the magic moment that never comes. But you, if you've stayed with me to the end, you've already proven. You want the truth more than comfort. Carl Jung believed that those who dare to face themselves become the rarest, most powerful kind of person. They stop living someone else's script and start writing their own. The world needs more people like that. The world needs you, awake, honest, moving forward. If this series spoke to you, if even a single word mirrored your inner experience, here's your final challenge. Share in the comments what your shadow has been telling you, or what small action you'll take today. Support someone else who's doing the same. Let's create a space where honesty is celebrated and transformation is possible. If you want more deep dive videos that go beyond hype and give you real tools, hit subscribe and join this journey for real. Thank you for watching. Your new story starts now.